This is Gary Atencio with CNTV. We're at O Interior Design. I'm here with the founder and owner, Andrea. Let me ask you, since 1999, you've been providing residential, commercial designs for consumers out here in Denver. You have quite a background when we're talking about formal education in this type of industry, as well as hands-on. You've done a little bit of everything. Before you took that first step formally, what was it? Was it the original passion that got you involved in design work?
I think I was always just a creative person. That was my original start. Then I moved out to Los Angeles, not really knowing what I wanted to do, and got into fashion design. Was my first sort of classes that I took. Then got turned on to interior design and just really took off.
Took off from there.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Let me ask you this. You've worked right on the sets there in California. That had to be quite an experience, and you draw from a lot of your past work and bring it into your present.
Absolutely. It's just invigorating to be there. But I was awfully young. I was only 19 years old, learning from the best of the best and also feeling a little young to be in that business. So I ended up back here for more education and ended up my business starting here. So
wonderful. With over 10 years of serving folks here professionally in Denver, you have a wide vast of clients out there, everything from small to large. Is that the case usually?
Yeah, typically we try to, help everybody from just accessorizing to fully getting into projects from the very beginning, when it's construction to all the way to the last accessory and everything in between. We love it. So
great. Let's start off with residential. Residential, when I think of interior design, I think of big, beautiful homes that look wonderful. But quite honestly, you do work from condos to townhomes to large homes, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. We try to help everyone we can.
I know in building a home, this has to be an absolute luxury to have somebody like you in my corner. Quite honestly, people can go in there and basically make some mistakes. And a lot of times you can save them that.
Well, absolutely. Sometimes we get phone calls with people that have tried to do it on their own and end up saving them money, or if we can get in before they do the costly mistakes that putting in a backsplash they shouldn't have, or speccing the wrong type of tile for an application. I see it all the time. And so, if we can help in that way, it's
wonderful. Good. Obviously, it's fun to see the brainstorming process come about, but are there any tools that can basically help them along that process?
Absolutely. Well, I think a lot of people have a really hard time envisioning what they're getting, and it's hard to write a big check for a bunch of stuff that they don't know how it's going to come together. So one thing I think it's really important for a designer to do is sketch what things are going to look like ahead of time, so the client can really picture it, and then you can pull the trigger, and it makes it a lot easier to do so.
When you're talking about sketching, are we talking about on paper, or are we talking about electronic?
No, we don't do electronic. We do hand renderings and color renderings, so you can see. And we can either do them quickly, just in a quick meeting, or take a couple hours and really get it precise.
Precise and very tangible.
Yes, exactly.
Wonderful. Folks really want to have something original. We see some things in publications, on TV that we'd love to have, but quite honestly, we have something that wants to reflect our personality and style. Is that what you're able to create?
Absolutely. It's getting to know each other, and it's a personal relationship. It's almost a marriage in a way. When you meet a client and you're working on something for 1 or 2 years together, you have to be able to communicate, and you have to really get the person. And so, yeah, absolutely.
I love that. Well, obviously, if a residential has a personality, then a business would have a brand or a goal in mind that they want to basically convey to the people that walk through it. Is that what you're able to provide as well?
Yes, getting in on a restaurant from the beginning and really talking about how, the name of the restaurant with the logo, with the type of food and the interior all blending as one big brand is absolutely what we do. And it's
wonderful.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, we have a consumer out there basically building a restaurant. At what point of the game should they get you involved?
From the get-go.
Really?
Absolutely. I mean, when they're starting to conceptualize and think about logo and branding, you can really just start to see the flavor of the restaurant come together if you work with a designer from the beginning. And I say the same about residential.
Really? So if they're going to take this from the get-go, it's right away at the consultation period?
Absolutely. And even if it's minimally and we can kind of weave ourselves in and out, you won't need us the whole time, all the time, but at least just get the team together in the beginning. Get your architect and your designer, and if you need a lighting designer, and, start branding and marketing person.
Wonderful. Let me ask you, obviously first impressions are big in business, and quite honestly, a lot of folks are walking into companies and that's their first impression, be it a lobby or be it somewhere they're going to do business with. How important is lighting overall in something like that?
How important is lighting? Lighting is important, absolutely. I mean, there's lighting designers too, that's all they do is specialty lighting. So Shady, my project manager, is a lighting specialist. She worked in New York City doing lighting, so we like to have our hands in the pie on that for sure, but it's absolutely 100% important.
Let me ask you, Andrea, obviously with the small team that you provide, the personal touch is something that you can provide for the consumers out there. Quite honestly, there's probably a lot going on behind the scenes that most people don't even realize.
Sure. Well, something, just as an example, it's not just about pulling a bunch of pretty stuff and saying, this is what you should do. There's a lot of detail behind the scenes to make that happen. So, for example, if you're doing just one chair and you are having this be the main fabric, let's say, and a welt is something, the contrast welt is a different one, and then a pillow on it is coming from another manufacturer, and the welt on that's another manufacturer. Say there's 4 or 5 fabrics going on one chair, and you're tracking that from New York, Los Angeles, Thailand, and you're making sure they all get to the manufacturer and put on that chair. You're doing that not just for that chair, but bedding and drapery and sofas and more than one room. This house can become pretty detailed, and that is what is using a designer's for, is getting that custom look. It's not going down to Room and Board or another showroom and just buying that whole showroom off the floor and putting it in your home. Why use a designer, right? I mean, you want to use a designer to get a real custom look and have it tailored and classic for you that's going to last for years. On
the website there, how important is it for folks to contact you and set up that first consultation? Because quite honestly, I think it would be sort of overwhelming, kind of a daunting project to put this together for folks. How are you able to alleviate that in that first consultation?
Well, every project's so different. I think it's really important just to go over what that person needs. And so our first hour is complimentary always. And it's just a meet and greet. We can talk about, somebody's needs and how we can work together and how they could fit that in their budget, from small budgets to large budgets. And we can also help develop budgets. So it's important to meet and get to know each other and really know your designer first. So yeah.
Folks, take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. What you're going to see is their website. On the website, you're going to see a great portfolio they've put together through the years. They've got archives of past clients. They also have a lot of articles there. They're going to get basically your creative juices flowing and deciding on something you may want to put together. Also, keep in mind they have been written up many times in numerous publications throughout the years, and the Home of the Year, is that correct?
Home of the Year in 2010, and then 5280 last year voted as top of the town, which is an honor. So
awards like that have to mean a great deal to you, knowing that you're out there doing something people really love. But on a personal level, what are some of the stories people tell you after you've created something for them?
I just really become good friends with the people that when it clicks, it works, and they become my dear friends for life. So that's the best part.
So once again, take a look at the bottom of the screen and you can see the website. Also click them there on Facebook as well. You'll see some of their live projects they have going on at the time. And remember, since 1999, they've been providing for commercial and residential folks throughout Denver. But quite honestly, they're pulling their experience, if you will, from California, Shady being in different continents, you name it, across the board.
Yeah, yes, thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV. And if you don't know, now you know.